This year marks Contra's 30th anniversary globally, which is rare especially for this era. There are no known dates for the North American and European releases other than 1987, but the Japanese version launched on February 20th, 1987, which hopefully is today. I should mention the title in Europe and Oceania was changed to Grisor. There is no official reason why as far as I could see, but Contras were US-funded rebels in Nicaragua, so to avoid political controversy, that's probably one of the more valid reasons why it was changed, even though you're fighting aliens, not a dictatorship. Anyway, this name was kept for further European ports of Grisor on the Amstrad CPC, Commodore 64, and ZX Spectrum in 1988. In that same year, Contra was also ported, more importantly, to the NES in both Japan and North America. This version wouldn't be released in Europe until 1990. By this point, Germany had laws against violent video games set by a fun little organization known as, and forgive me German listeners because I'm gonna butcher this, Bunderschaftsfeld für Jugendparken Medien. I got a little bit Swedish at the end there, but let's just simply call it the abbreviation of BPJM. It was essentially set up to monitor youth-targeted products like video games. To avoid controversy, a lot of Contra was altered aside from just the title this time. Probotector became the new name for the series going forward in the PAL regions until the first PlayStation game debuted, which I'll touch on later. The heroes and enemies were transformed into robots because, as everyone knows, there are no laws against machine-on-machine violence at this time. Shocking for our future generations who all have robotic spouses, I'm sure, but regardless of which, it was a smart move at the time. Getting back to basics, Contra is a run-and-gun side-scroller, highly inspired by classic films of the 80s like a splice between Rambo and Alien. Players can tackle the game alone or with a partner, blasting away aliens or robots, my pal friends, in order to save Earth. Power-ups are dropped in between, giving us awesome weaponry like the spread gun. Well, that pretty much sums up every game from here on out. Truthfully, I'm not that familiar with the series, but everyone I knew that had an NES owned Contra, and yet I didn't know anyone who had the sequels. I wouldn't touch Contra again until Contra 4, developed by the ever-amazing WayForward Technologies, on the DS in 2007, and it felt pretty much the same, but still pretty good. That's why, for the purpose of this retrospective, I played every single one, just to get a feel for the series. Well, All for One, which is renowned for being one of the worst entries. Contra: Legacy of War, which was the first PS1 title and the first to be developed outside of Konami internally. Appaloosa Interactive also worked on the PS1 sequel, C: The Contra Adventure. Now, despite being a Konami property, one based in Japan, need I remind you, both of these games were not released over there, and C: The Contra Adventure was a North American exclusive. This wasn't the first time this happened either. The fifth game in the series, Contra Force on the NES, was also a North American exclusive. It was slated to launch in Japan under the new name of Arkhound, but was eventually cancelled. Now, not including remakes, there are 13 main games in the franchise across multiple platforms. The last game was a prequel to the sixth game, Contra Hardcore for the Sega Genesis, entitled Hardcore Uprising. It debuted in 2011 as a downloadable title for Xbox 360 and PS3 owners. True to the name of Contra and the actual title, it's hard, but also beautiful. Unfortunately, that's where the saga ends, but even though Konami is in a fragile state right now in terms of developing video games, all hope is not lost. I'd love for WayForward Technologies to tackle the series again. Perhaps on a console this time, although seeing it on the PS Vita or the 3DS would be pretty cool too. I'd even enjoy a collection on current consoles. Please, for the love of Earth, just do something in celebration of one of your most classic franchises, Konami. It deserves it. Groveling aside, I bid Contra a happy 30th anniversary. Did you know that was a ReActionExaminer video? If you liked it, you should subscribe to me to keep up with everything that I'm doing. Also, if you have some other interests, like sex for example, check out Tomops, which is a comedy sex podcast thing wherein my best friend and I check out the weird and abnormal and the erotic. And of course, you should support me on Patreon because, hey, I want to make the channel better and I want your help to do so. Plus, if you want to check out my writing, check out Game Jerk, where I have archives and new stuff for all projects, okay? You can find all the stuff and more in the description with the links below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.